Hey folks, Will Hamilton, Yano Zoo.
Hey guys.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about the four dimensions, but now we're going to talk about them in terms of the serve, which I think is your favorite shot in the game.
Well, you know, those are the two parts that start the game, the serve and the return of serve. And when you serve, this is the first time and the only time that you're going to be in control of the point. Tennis is a reaction game, but for the serve, where it's like you're the director, action, you pick and choose what you aim for. So it's really worth it to, you know, take advantage of all four dimensions in that position. All right, how do you do that? Well, we're gonna start to showcase it, okay, using the width, the depth, height, and then time.
Something I think most recreational players aren't really aware of is taking advantage of these all these dimensions as both the server, and then we're going to see as the returner as well. But why don't we start with the serve? Again, your favorite shot. Easy for it to be his favorite shot. He serves 130. So not kind of fair.
Well, but that's the thing, is you don't have to serve 130 to have a very efficient serve. Those four dimensions are, you know, are not pace specific. They're really, you know, just for everybody, rec level, from, you know, beginner all the way to advanced player.
So what you're saying is I have some hope.
You have a lot of hope. Okay, Will, these are to me arguably the two most important parts of the game, which is the serve and the return of serve. So we're going to talk a little bit about how you can take advantage of the four dimensions from the serve's perspective and then from the returning's perspective, okay? So let's start with the serve, okay? When you start to serve, you really want to be able to move the ball around, taking advantage of the width, which is the first dimension, okay? So most players, when they first start, they learn to just kind of keep the ball in play, not a whole lot of aim or accuracy. Gradually, you want to kind of improve from that, okay? And that would mean, if you look at the two blue boxes that you see there, having the ability to play to the left, okay, and then play to the right. As simple as that, okay? That would be really, really good because you're able to play to your opponent's forehand or to your opponent's backhand. That's great.
So, so literally these two boxes just essentially allow you to tap into the weakness.
Correct.
All right.
Okay, if you see they have a weak backhand, just spin their backhand all day, get a couple of free points. It's just good for the day. Okay? Then I have to be cognizant of your position in terms of your depth adjustment. So if I see that you're at the service line and you don't really have a very strong return, right?
Sure, the baseline.
At the baseline, sorry. Yeah. Then do I have the serve to make it kind of short, okay, so that you're not able to get to it, or when you get to it, it's a really uncomfortable position, you're going to pop it up, be uncomfortable, and then I take control of the play, right? Or if I see that you're hogging the line, okay, can I play a soft high serve, okay, that's still a little short. I haven't served like this in 25 years, so it's a little challenging for me, but like this, okay? Kind of high, see, it taps into your upper register, forces you to move back. You know, it's a soft serve, so it's really hard to handle. People don't really know what to do with it. Do I crack it? Do I push it? Okay? And that little split second of hesitation usually causes a lot of trouble. Okay? So now I have the ability to move it side to side, up and down. Okay? I have to start to utilize the altos, or the upper register and low register. Can you push it high or can you play it low? Okay? That too, I have to be cognizant of your position. Okay? Because if you're there, a short one, okay, would make you have to move up. The ball would drop before you even have to take a step. I tap into your low register. I force you to take the ball under the net, right? Now I see that you moved up because you recognize that I have a really weak second serve, so you moved up, okay? Now I'm good enough to realize that, hey, if I play the ball high, maybe I'm going to hurt him, okay? So I'm going to go for a little high popper like this, okay? See that? That's almost a lob on you, okay? That's really hard to handle. Okay, so even within the confine of a rudimentary serve, one would call it, okay, I'm able to tap into all the dimensions, which is great, okay? The fourth dimension is obviously time, okay? And for me to tap into the time, I have to be able to put a little more pace to my serve to take time away from you, kind of rush you a little bit, okay? So even with a rudimentary serve, if I can go like this a little bit, you know, just move up a bit, okay? So I faked you out. I went for a little tappy serve like that. You moved up, okay? Can I go with one a little more, you know, like that?
And then rushed.
I rush you, okay? So then I tap into the time, which is the fourth dimension, okay? You can also tap into the time by moving the ball around, okay? So if I find some sharper angles, then you two are going to be in trouble. Like I can go this way, okay? I move you to that side, and then I can move that way, and then you have to do the same, okay? As you get better, obviously, your serve starts to, you know, get more qualities to it. the kick serve to me is really the go-to serve. If one can spend time on it to be able to, own it, it's a great serve to have because it taps into every single dimension. It's a high clearance, so you don't have to worry about the net ever.
Very consistent.
Okay? So let's go over the same progression, right? I have to find a way to go to your right. In your case, it's your left.
Yeah.
My right, that is. Or to the other side, okay? So then I'm able to tap into the first dimension, which is the width, okay? So then I want to tap into the depth dimension. So move up a little bit, okay? Now I see that you're close, so I'm going to try to push you back.
Go deeper,
okay?
yeah.
Correct. You move back. I'm going to play something that's going to land a little shorter.
And then,
see that?
Yep.
And then I'm able also to take advantage of that, okay? Now the third dimension is the height, right? Altos. So same thing. I have to be cognizant of your position because it's player specific. Okay, if you play Isner, he's really tall. In your case, you're like 5'10", 5'11", like me.
So I appreciate the generous markup, but thank you.
Anyhow, okay, so I see where you are, and I realize that maybe you have a weak forehand, low forehand. So I'm going to play something a little short, okay, and then he's going to land. Okay, I'm going to do it again because that was very, very generous.
There you go.
There you go. See, at your shoelace. And then now you move up, and I need to kind of push you back or go in your upper register. So I'm going to go with something that's really going to bounce.
Yeah, it's up
okay,
my
we
face.
can do better than that. Okay, there you go.
There it is.
Okay, you see that? Way up over your hat.
Yep.
Okay, so then I tapped into all the dimensions, which is great. Okay, as a server, you really want to be in control of that because this is the only time where you have the ball in your hand. You decide what you want to do with it. Your opponent has no idea what you're going to do with it. So really worth it to work on all these 4 dimensions, okay?
And I think the key point you've made, and I want to make sure everybody watching this has realized it, is we started with a very, like you said, rudimentary serve, which some people watching are going to have. Other people are going to have a more sophisticated serve, the kick serve you just showed. But this stuff works at every single level, so I don't want anybody watching this to say, well, I've got this rudimentary serve, I just want to get it in and not try and hurt my opponent with it. Jan just showed you can do that with a little bit of awareness about how these 4 dimensions work. So at all levels of the game, you need to be using this stuff.
Correct. So now that we've discussed the serve, obviously we want to make sure that the returner, which is the second most important part of the game, because those 2 really start the game for you, can also take advantage of the 4 dimensions, all right? So in your case, you have to be cognizant of my tendencies. Okay, and realize that, hey, this guy has a soft tappy serve that lands short. Can I move up? Or he has a really tappy serve that goes way back. Can I move back to give myself more time? Okay, so let's go over that. Okay, if you see that I serve like this, right? Well, instead of staying back and wasting time and making contact, at your shoelace, you would move up, right? And make sure that you always make contact at your hip. 99.9% of the human population is comfortable at the hip. So this is what you want to do. You always want to make contact at the hip on return as well as you can.
Okay, don't be glued to the baseline.
Correct. Okay, obviously that's based on how well your opponent serves, but I would argue that at the rec level, there's always a little margin of opportunity.
Particularly on the second serve.
Particularly on the second serve. So same thing, you want to take time away because there too, okay, you can start to hurt me.
Yeah.
What I need to also mention is at the rec level, when you return, you can neutralize all 3 dimensions that your opponent is trying to throw at you. That's width, depth, and height. Simply by making contact at the hip every time.
And moving in, yeah.
And moving in, exactly. And by moving in, you take time away. So let's go over that again, okay? So if I try to go to your left, but then you moved in, you take that ball away, boom. And then I'm still kind of recovering from the serve. By the time I get up, the ball is already on me.
Yeah, let's show that. Hit one more and I'll put it right back at you.
Okay, so I'm right here. I'm recovering. Up, see? I haven't even gathered my thoughts. The ball is already back.
Yeah, that's what Djokovic does so effectively.
Exactly. So obviously, as you start to get better, all the spins start to kick in, no pun intended, okay? So I'm going to start to use the kick, right? So, but same thing. You can do the Djokovic style, all right, where you're going to take time away from me. So you're going to step up. Okay, there you go. See, I'm still recovering. The ball is at my shoelaces. Now I have to, to hit a return that's going to be really hard for me. Okay, there you go. And it doesn't matter what I throw at you. Okay, if I throw the high one,
Oof,
okay,
that's a good
try to
one.
step up a little more, okay? If I throw the high one, that's it, okay? Or if I throw the low one, same thing. It's
Yep.
right in your wheelhouse, okay? Let me take this ball right here. All right, let's try that again. You're gonna step up. There you go. Okay, the equivalent, I mean the reverse of that is what Nadal does. Nadal moves all the way back, okay? Djokovic takes time away from you. Nadal creates time for himself, okay? So he backs way back. You know, that has to do with body type as well because Djokovic is a little slender. So, you know, by taking your pace against yourself, he can add massive amounts of power. Nadal is very bulky, so he's able to generate his own pace. So by giving himself time and using his sheer muscle strength, he takes control of the point. Okay, so way back there. Okay, that's it. See that? That's a perfect Nadal return. Okay, he has more time. He can measure his shot. He's not rushed. He can pick his spots. Okay, and really execute the most lethal return that he can to put you in the defensive right away. But to do what Nadal does, you have to be super quick because obviously you open up a lot more angles, right? So
Yep.
at his level, those guys have the full range. They can go from the right to the left with all spins and really stretch you out to extreme locations. So you have to be super quick and super strong. So that's not necessarily the one that I would encourage everybody to do. I'm more of a person who likes to take time away. I'm skinny, okay? And take my opponent's space to my advantage, okay? So let's try to do that again. You're gonna do the Nadal, okay? I'm gonna go here, and there you go. You just return, no problem. And then you're gonna do what Djokovic does, where you're gonna step up, okay? That's really my favorite because it takes time away right away, okay? And then boom, you're done. Okay, very simple way to kind of showcase how the returner can take control of everything the server is throwing at him. So as a viewer, I would really take these two advice into consideration, how to tap into all four dimensions in both positions.